All right, and welcome back, everybody, to the after show for She-Hulk episode 8. I am Jeff. I am joined, as always, by Kevin. All right, Kevin, gotta ask you, are you ribbing it or are you gonna rip it?
I am ribbing it, baby. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
This this episode was a surprise. And not for the twist ending that they mentioned. I mean, I've never ever thought that I'd see LeapFrog in the MCU. That never ever.
I had no idea it was such a thing until today, apparently, when I first saw this, and I'm like, he's got to be a D-lister or a no-lister.
Yep. He was a thing long time ago. And golly, I think they made him as realistic as they laughably could.
He looked
Uh,
like something out of Kick-Ass.
yes, yeah, that's exactly what I had written down. He very much reminded me of Dave from Kick Ass
Yeah.
or Defendor, which was
Okay.
much better than Leapfrog. But just don't watch the end, kids.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, just trying to fight poorly. And
Well, it was
the
his
guy,
rendition of how the fight went. So clearly it was just the lie he had in his head, except for the actual event of I'm taking off on my jet powered boots and he crashes and sets his legs on fire. So clearly he's just trying to mimic the story. That's how we figure it out at the end is he's really like this criminal who's kidnapped Jen's designer and his designer of his outfit. And it's just like, really, dude? I mean, it doesn't take too much thought to figure out he was going to be a villain or some joke in this.
yeah, and hiring so many goons with his dad's money,
Daddy's money.
Daddy's money. What
We
was
needed
his last name?
Madison for that, to be honest, but that's my opinion.
I would love to see Madison one more time in the show, but I don't think we're gonna.
Only if she
She
finds those bottomless gin and tonics.
That would make for a good final scene. It would have nothing to do with the series, which is pretty much so far what the only end credits have been about. Which at this point, have we been 5 episodes now that we don't have an end credit scene?
Yep, it was
Or is it
episode 4
4?
was the last one.
Okay, yeah. So we haven't seen one of those in a while. I
Nope.
I can only speculate whether or not we're going to see one at the end of the last episode.
At the end of the last episode, maybe, but yeah, we're right butt up against episode 9, which is the last one coming next week.
That's true. And where we closed out last week was saying, "Gosh, are we going to find out who the villain is next week? Have a little bit of backstory there for the villain, and then a fight like we saw with WandaVision? Or was it going to be more like Loki, where you have a whole bunch of filler and then find out that there's a villain at the end of the episode? Final season finale is a big long fight with like very little exposition of who the bad guy is and why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
We called that one, and it's like, uh this series, unless they pull this off really well at the end, was not all that in a bag of chips to rush who the villain was at the end.
Yeah, I kind of feel like as far as like my point of view as a casual Marvel fan who doesn't know She-Hulk and doesn't know like all these other things other than like Abomination, I gotta say, I think it missed the boat for me on delivering the villain and the overall story going forward. If we were gonna wait till literally the last episode, I think that was the bad call. I definitely think we should have had this sooner. Like, I understand what they were going for with Jen's arc, but there's a lot you could have cut out now in hindsight as we go into the finale.
Yeah.
And waiting until next week, the last episode, to reveal the villain, I'm gonna go ahead and say like I'm holding out hope that it's gonna be good, but I'm already not feeling the show has hit the way it should have for like a casual fan like myself. Like they waited way too long. The pacing on this show has been not the best.
No, and along with the pacing is trying to figure out what's filler and what's not. And unfortunately, for 8 episodes at 20-25 minutes a pop, there shouldn't be filler, but there is in this series.
Yeah.
Uh, and once you finally get to the meat and taters of it by the end of this episode, Wong, one of the most enjoyable parts of the show so far, was all filler, 100% filler.
Yeah, we didn't need any of that at
Mm-hmm.
all. Period. And somebody should go back through and do like a fan edit of the things that actually would make sense. You could probably condense this down to like 6 episodes or less.
Yes.
Probably five, and just loosely thinking like what you could cut out and keep and actually kind of use as like a little side story here and there.
Mm-hmm. And then it further made a mess of, and we've talked about it before, the timing of phase 4
Yeah.
and the reasoning behind phase 4. It's very helter skelter at this point. Like they don't have
Yeah.
anything mapped out. We know in so many years we're going to see Kang, or we've already seen Kang, what version of him. We're going to see him next year in Ant-Man.
Yep.
Whether or not he's going to be the villain in Ant-Man, they're holding off on that one. I've heard it's supposed to be Yellow Jacket again.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah.
I haven't heard too much about it other than they finished like shooting, and that's about all I know.
Oh, that part's good at least. I mean, I
Yeah.
got to see the bootleg of the trailer.
Okay.
That was okay
I
from
don't think I
like
saw that.
this angle, like up close in the front row at this angle looking. Uh,
Oh, yeah. Like the
uh
Indiana Jones one that we saw.
yes, it was the exact same thing. Um, at least you got to hear it and it sounded cool.
You're right. Instead of watching people walking back and forth in front of the screen or two. Oh,
Yes, yes. But no, going back, the most enjoyable part was Wong, but that caused more loopholes because we kept
yeah.
asking, when does this take place around Shang-Chi? Because Shang-Chi, as far as we've seen, has been the most plot driven of the movies or the things that have come out recently.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe the end of Ms. Marvel, because that's going to lead into the Marvels.
Right.
But not a whole lot in this show has made necessary sense. Like you said, you could probably cut this down to 6 episodes.
Yeah, and as far as like runtime goes, that you actually reminded me of a point I wanted to make is that for once an episode went 35 minutes and I feel it should have ended at 25. Like we should have just ended with the walk of shame and Nikki walking in and being like, we got to get ready for the gala. And then their like award ceremony gala was actually the final episode. Because that almost would feel like, okay, we're not like jumping too far. I mean, yes, the villain is still yet to be revealed, but at least it feels like, oh, hey, we've been building up to this particular event instead of, no, we're going to use this event to show you how stupid of a cliffhanger we can give you going into next week.
Yeah, but that cliffhanger did kind of make me happy in a couple different ways.
Oh, do tell.
One, it did make me say, you know what? That's our villain. Our villain was right there the whole time. Um, Two, it led me for a question of who are the 4 individuals that were helping assist the intelligentsia takeover.
Yeah.
Um, because we've seen 4 people a couple times. We've seen the wrecking crew, and we've seen the 4 groomsmen at Lulu's
Mhm.
party.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, well, maybe it's those fucking guys. I went back and rewatched it. Not a single one of them necessarily had a hairstyle like the guy that she caught.
Right.
That wasn't Todd. Different hair altogether.
How he keeps popping up is beyond me, but
He's a plant. He's an assistant. He's Book's assistant.
ah,
He's Book's bitch.
books
Um,
bitch.
very much so, I think. Okay, here's one of the reasons why I say Book is the villain. She has nothing but contempt for Jen at this point. Uh, when we first see her, she's losing her position that she wanted to Jen because Jen was She-Hulk
Mhm.
for no other reason. So again, she feels Jen's being handed something that she doesn't deserve. Uh, her guys wanting to come on to her because she's She-Hulk, things that she doesn't deserve. The power that she got from Bruce, things that she doesn't deserve. So I think jealousy is truly what's driving Mallory there. Jealousy and something else. Whoever her mysterious husband is, probably going to have something to do with either Bruce or Jen or something. That should be key. My guess is that's going to be a key factor. But her character is so disingenuous. When we saw her telling Nikki, no, no, don't tell Jen about this crazy shit. Just let her live her life. So out of character for what someone would actually say.
Hmm.
And up until that part, Book was a very well written character. And then we see her here where Jen's finally learning the lesson of, ooh, I guess I should have listened to Bruce about my rage. Because I said in the second episode, that's going to come back and bite her in the ass.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And it
And
did.
yeah, she could not control herself.
No, she wrecked a
Um,
bunch of TVs.
she wrecked a bunch of TVs and she publicly humiliated herself and let the bad guy win by doing so.
Yep.
But just before she wrecks that shit, Mallory's like, don't do it, Jen. Like, really? No emotion whatsoever. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Um,
There
and
was
she,
like no oomph to it. It was just like, no, please, no, don't do it.
yeah, the actor is not that bad.
No.
The
If she was
character is
instructed
not
to,
that bad.
yeah, if she was directed to be like that, that was intentional then.
Yes. So that's got to be a key sign. If it's not, and I'm wrong, wow, that was dumb.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can only do red herring stuff up to a point, but like they've, as far as anything overly complicated in their show, they have not done anything that shows me they could pull off that. If they can, and it is Mallory, great. I'll eat my words and I'll give them a point for that. But if it's not Mallory and it's somebody else, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it what happens and how I react to it next week.
I mean, they threw out the big red herring out there. Uh
It's
Literally.
not Titania.
No, 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 no. She was talking about Red Hulk.
Well, yeah,
Um,
when she broke the fourth wall and she's like, "Hey, isn't this episode supposed to be over with by now?"
yeah, and what's funny is that 10 minutes, that was exactly 10 minutes or 9 minutes, excuse me,
Yep.
uh of plot. That was 9 minutes of the show that actually mattered. Nothing prior to that, although the better part of the episode actually mattered to the plot. So this show is really fucking interesting. Is it good? No, but it's
No.
entertaining as fuck.
Yeah.
Like I think that's going to be my overall synopsis of, like, it's good enough to watch over and over again, but it's not Iron Man. It's not
No.
it's not Loki. Well, it's closer to Loki. It's not WandaVision or even Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it's entertaining as fuck. God help me.
It's better than Hawkeye as far as entertainment level. I tried to watch that and I can't do it with Hawkeye.
I, I haven't jumped in yet. I need to.
I tried. I got like a handful of episodes in and I'm like, I'm done. I can't. I, Hawkeye, I mean, I love the actor, can't handle Hawkeye carrying a show or a movie on his own. Definitely has to be part of a team. But, you know, we'll see what happens with She-Hulk. Hopefully and I agree with you. It is very entertaining. I just hope it can stick the landing and find a lane if it comes back for another season. Hopefully, we get more of the court sort of action because the whole stuff with Daredevil at the beginning and their arguing their court case before it even got underway was like, this is what I've been waiting for. Because
Yeah.
her and Matt were going back and forth about like discovery and privacy of heroes. The Sokovia Accords got repealed. The back and forth. I'm like, yes, more of that, please, because it shows that she's equal in the courtroom with somebody else and she's got some prowess. She's not just getting handed awards and you barely see her in a court.
Right. And the Sokovia Accords, that's important. That's really important shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there are huge ramifications to that for what happened, like Matt talked about, for the people that did get outed,
Oh yeah.
who now have targets on their back, say, like in the comic book, Spider-Man did.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he kind of did in the movies too, but
Yeah.
um, Aunt May gets shot and killed by Kingpin as a result of that.
Yeah.
So repealing the Accords would have done nothing to bring her back.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a neat little tidbit. Let's see if they actually do anything with that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a neat approach to Matt. I liked it. They said they were going to give him a new origin.
I don't think they really gave him a new origin. They just gave
Yeah,
him a new entry point into the Marvel universe.
yeah, and it was good. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was very in character.
Yeah, I did overall like everything with Daredevil and Charlie Cox doing Matt Murdock. I'm like, okay, this is better. This is I'm not so afraid of what the Daredevil show will end up being. And this gave him more than what he got in like Spider-Man No Way Home. But at the same time, I did have something did kind of bother me a little bit. And I know it's a comic accurate outfit that he wears as Daredevil, but I don't know, it seemed way too bulky and it didn't look right on him. And I'm not talking the color scheme. The color scheme's something else entirely. Just the whole body armor. I don't know. It just didn't look like it fit him right, except for when he was in action sequences. But when he's just standing there, it's like, are you trying to make him look like he's got a beer gut? Like, what are you doing? Dude's in shape. He's always been in shape. He's fucking Matt Murdock.
It's a dad bod, dude. Everybody gets one. Shit.
Oh, but he's no dad.
That he knows of.
That's true. I mean, okay, I was gonna ask you, so because I don't know Daredevil comic lore very much. My introduction to Daredevil is the show and like animated video games, things like that. Is he a suave, debonair dude who likes to hook up with other attorneys just randomly?
So, no, not necessarily attorneys.
Didn't think so.
The best thing that She-Hulk has done as far as setting up Daredevil is showing his most important power that is continuous throughout the comic book series. Yes, we know he's got echolocation, all his other four senses are heightened as a result of the isotopes that hit him. But Matt's biggest power, his greatest power, is pimping. Like, he gets all the Marvel tang that there possibly is. He has slept with fucking Natasha several times. Slept fucking Yelena a couple times.
Okay.
He slept with fucking She-Hulk a couple times. Typhoid Mary, I think, a couple times. I swear to God, like that joke, he's got HPV, don't you? Like,
Yeah, I
Matt,
wasn't sure because I'm like, boy, he's hooking up with She-Hulk and She-Hulk Jen has had, I don't know what is going on in that mind. She goes from I can't get a date to all of a sudden I'm sleeping with three guys inside of a week. Like,
yeah.
whoa, girl, you do have some issues here. And you can't pin them all on the guys now because she goes from a guy she had 3 dates with who ghosted her after sleeping with her to then, oh, I'm gonna have a short-term fling with Matt. Like, what the fuck is going on with you, girl? Like, I don't know. It feels like they're very inconsistent with what they're trying to convey with her and her love life.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I keep wanting to say anonymous. Let's just get that note out of the way.
Yeah.
Don't piss off anonymous, Marvel. They will fuck your shit up. Uh,
Then we'll get the leak scripts for everything through Phase 9.
Like I'm sitting there watching this, going, "Oh, don't tempt them. No, those are vigilantes you don't want to fuck with."
Intelligentsia Anonymous.
Yeah, because intelligentsia is supposed to be more like truth.com.
Yeah, that's more for the man hating thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which fine. And another one of the things that they've kept consistent with is dogging your incel type people.
Oh yeah.
So I mean they've stuck to those guns throughout the entire series so far. So that's one of the basic aspects of this show. The other aspect of it is slut shaming.
Oh yeah.
That's what this big thing was at the end, was slut shaming. So of course, everybody at home, you're going to want to watch this before watching us. You saw that in public they take over the TV monitors, which was totally ripped off from Lego Batman 2, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And say, here's who Jen Walters really is, and she's trying to say, no, no, everyone knows who I am, but no. Then they show her, what is it, her Match.com or whatever it is,
Her profile, her work emails. They go through like everything that was like on her phone. They then have the video playing of her and Josh sleeping together.
Yep.
But it's like,
and her dad got to see that.
He's
her
like,
dad got to see her sex tape. That was so special for him.
Well, I think he was more afraid of, oh shit, we have another Hulk incident about to happen. I think that was more than, oh god, my daughter in a sex tape. It was more like, oh shit, she's gonna lose it, sort of thing.
I don't know. Like as a dad, that would have just broken my heart and probably put me into a fucking heart attack. But that's just me personally.
Yeah.
So it's like she got set up for the sex tape thing, and that's one of them things that made me go, that's a girl setting her up. That's slut shaming. That's an indirect hit. And I know ladies are gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's myexgirlfriend.com about then? Completely different. This is slut shaming on a female level, taking her down because she doesn't deserve the shit. And Titania is another huge red herring, just like you were saying. I'm not even sure we're going to see her again at the end.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, she's out there, but she's not really a threat. She's been defeated and she's off scarfing a chocolate cake for the next 3 weeks.
Until she's happy and satisfied.
Yeah. Or she meets somebody who can then buy her things.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
If she hooked up with Todd, then that's the only other kind of thing I could maybe see happening. But I don't think Todd's trying to hook up with her at that one point in the episode, and I'm like, well, you keep bringing Todd back. What is going on with that? Well, keep trying that red herring. I don't know.
Todd, no. Again, I really think he's just a plant for book. Like she's supposed to be working for him, but I think it's very much the other way around.
Okay.
I don't know. Like she could be the big red herring, and I could be looking like a huge ass next week. Really hoping I'm not. Right. But I don't know. This just so seems like something that a lady would do to another one. Yes, a man's going to profiteer off of it, but I think if they made a man the bad guy, like the other half of the male watchers that aren't incels are just going to like eye roll really hard.
Like, that'll probably be me.
Like, okay, we know we've got a horror film called Men now. We know this is like a very feminine driven show, and that's great. It's been a fantastic show, but let's not keep hitting the fucking stereotypes every fucking time. Right. That makes you a predictable show and not a very smart show.
Right.
Good jokes don't make necessarily for a smart show.
Yeah, and good jokes should always make the audience laugh, not sit there going like, is that a joke?
Yeah. Because I mean, seeing a different types of shithead guys going through a dating profile, that's relatable. Like everybody gets that.
Yeah, we've all been through that.
And but just the way that they showed it was just a bit much. And I think you pointed that out a couple episodes back too.
Yep.
They've hit that head on the nail, or they've hit that nail on the head a bit too many times. Let's see them not do that going forward.
Right.
And I don't know. Let's not make it just a damn the man kind of show.
Yeah.
It should be so much better than that.
Right. You can't just like sleep with Matt and send him on his way, and then in our final episode, she hooks up with somebody else. It's like, oh God, come on. Let's get off of this train already.
What I will say this about that is at least that makes Nikki correct a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Nikki tells her that there are so many other good guys in LA. And it's like every guy that we've seen on here is not a good guy at all, minus Wong.
Right.
Like none of them are good until finally here comes Matt. And then, yes, here's this good guy that Nikki was talking about.
Right. I agree.
So, I mean, that to me is the great part of them bringing in Daredevil.
That means she's the devil.
Yeah. But, and I also like that he was the one that kind of became her muse to become a superhero.
Yeah.
Not Bruce, not Nikki, not her dad. It was Daredevil. And
Right.
that really meant something. That makes me think going forward, because God, everybody knows that everyone loves Charlie Cox.
Oh yeah.
And there's always been that question, who's going to be the next Iron Man? It's going to be Charlie Cox. It's they don't want to get people locked in on contracts anymore.
Right.
So how much longer are we going to see Doctor Strange? Who knows?
Probably one more and one more Avengers. That's what I'm thinking.
I hope more though. I hope, because I like him. I've never been a big Doctor Strange fan in the comics per se, but I do like the movies, and I like Benedict Cumberbatch his portrayal. But no, it's the I don't know. I don't know how many more times that they could do that.
Right. Hopefully for like they keep the cameos to a minimum because it seems that way too fan servicey. Like we can't keep going through all these movies and shows with the constant fan service. For some things that works, like She-Hulk. Of
Yeah.
course we're gonna see people from all over the spectrum in She-Hulk because that's what she does. But like something like Daredevil, like the Daredevil show, the most we should see is anybody who's in Hell's Kitchen in general. That means Punisher sometimes, that means Jessica Jones, that means Luke Cage, the Heroes for Hire, that core, like the Defenders, like anybody beyond that, like what are you doing? We don't need to see War Machine show up for no reason. Just to be like, oh hi, I'm here, I'm visiting, I'm just saying hi to my buddy Matt. Like what? We don't need the constant fan service and cameos going.
That
We
is a
need to focus on
long-standing
story.
comic book tradition, though.
Yeah.
Like, if a story could be great, but if a book wasn't selling, they'd pop in Spider-Man for an episode or an issue or two.
Well, Spider-Man's in New York. I don't know. I kind of look at it as long as it makes geographical sense, not this, oh, this dude's on the other side of the world all the time. Okay, now he's here, but he's only just stopping by to say hi. Oh God. I mean, I don't know. It's just a nitpick of mine. It doesn't really make or break anything for me, but like the constant cameos is a bit worn out. It's now become a trope. It's become cliche for the movies instead of actually meaning something to the overall plot.
Oh God, I want to say it should be both. Like they should be able to have them in there and have that be specific for the plot.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's just kind of like, okay, who could we stick in there?
Yeah, and it should make sense. It shouldn't just be for the sake of just having that person there.
Yep.
Like the rumors are Doctor Doom might be involved with Wakanda Forever. Like he is the master of puppets pulling strings, or he might just be in a cameo at the end. But it sounds like there's something with Doctor Doom going on. So it's like, okay, is he gonna play an active role in the movie, or is he just in the end credits and he's just saying, "Hi, I'm Victor Von Doom. I'm the representative of Latveria here, just saying hi." It's like, are you really gonna introduce him like that? That's completely lame. Now, if he's the master of puppets pulling strings and he's our new Thanos, then you can get me. So it's gotta make sense. I don't know. We don't have to dwell on that too much.
Not until we get to Secret War, and then we'll, yeah.
That should be good.
Hopefully so. Well, we just talked about Secret War last night.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
You guys will see that episode next week,
Yep.
or hear that episode. Excuse me. That was our podcast.
Yeah, we covered the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. So stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, and there's a correlating reference. We promise.
Yep, there is.
Anyhow, yeah. The cameos can be good. Not all of them seem to matter.
Right.
Here's another good example. Brie Larson at the end of Shang-Chi. Like, why was she there? And then her, oops, I've got to go.
Yeah.
That was kind of dumb. At the very least, we see Bruce, who has the inhibitor on his arm.
Yeah.
And that leads into this show.
Right.
Oops, I had to go didn't lead into Ms. Marvel in any way whatsoever, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is a good example of their fan service. I mean, you can't deny that they have started doing that now.
Oh yeah.
So, but sometimes the fan service is really good. My God, like I said, Wong was one of the most enjoyable parts of this show.
Oh yeah.
Madison, if they brought her back a third time, would it be good? Not overall to the story, but it'd be great as shit for like entertainment value.
Two cameos and one where you're not where you think it is.
Yeah, right. Like, can't we see Jake a little bit? Like, I would like to see
goat, yeah.
Jake at the very end. Like, that'd
be a good stinger. Yeah,
I'm still stuck on that. But Mephisto, that would be dope as shit.
Well, that would actually be that would pique my interest.
That would have been nice to see him in an episode and have that more or less lead into tomorrow's movie, Werewolf by Night, showing that there is this darker, creepier side that's going to intermix with our lighter heroes. So, but we don't work for Marvel, so they don't do things like that.
Well, the check has never been delivered, so you might want to recut that check, and then we can get back on board with you.
Yeah, and if you want to check our qualifications, we've been like predicting everything you guys have been doing for the show for the last 8 weeks. So, yeah, we could do it. Probably not well, but we could do it.
And with our eyes closed, Daredevil style, we'll just smell it like the jet fuel he used in his boots.
Now, a few things about Daredevil and that I think people are going to nitpick, but I really liked was the CG action. There was a lot more CGing of Daredevil in this show than there was in his Netflix series.
It reminded me of the very first movie with Ben Affleck, actually.
A little bit, yes. And I didn't mind the stunts flipping around and shit like that because that's what he does in the comics.
Oh yeah, it looked good in the show, in my opinion.
Yes, on this show it looked good.
Yeah.
2005 wasn't all the way there yet. No,
that looked way clunky.
And they're able to blend that CG right into an actor so masterfully now.
Oh yeah.
Like her turning around and from She-Hulk to Jen, same principle. And his billy clubs,
those were awesome.
The billy clubs are the most comic accurate in this than they've ever been in any incarnation of Daredevil on screen.
Right.
Like all the way from Lou Ferrigno days to now. Like they kicked ass this time. Bouncing around off walls, the sound it makes when it hits somebody in the fucking head. It was great. And then they were able to invoke that hallway fight from season 1 of Daredevil.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, yes, another hallway fight. Thank you so much.
And the music, it gave me fucking chills and goosebumps and shit like that. I felt like The Rock, where you could feel it.
What for the millions?
Oh, like I really liked that Daredevil, and I liked where they were going with this.
Yeah.
And then again, showing what a man whore that Matt is was fantastic. And then doing the walk of shame with no shame
And
was
no
amazing.
boots. He was carrying his boots. And then he even said good morning to the lady he walked past with the dog.
Yeah, yeah, like it was no thing.
Good morning. And then he's like whistling, like, yeah, I got some last night.
Well, see, that's one of the great things about Matt is he's not ashamed, even though yeah, he's doing the walk of shame, as they call it. But like he's totally happy because he was sincerely or he was genuinely like
Yeah.
vibing with Jen.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they both kind of woke up happy that morning. And that was a side of the comics that they haven't don't ordinarily show in the MCU. So
Right.
that was fun.
Yeah. I was pretty pleased overall with the Daredevil experience in the episode. So it gives me good faith that they'll do a good job with the show. Just hopefully we can get some of our other characters back.
Oh yeah, again, I'd really like to see Foggy and Karen come back.
Those are the two that I really think they need to bring back with. I mean, yes, they are carryovers from Netflix, but you already set the precedent that anything from the Netflix projects is fair game to come back over. You just put your own tweak and stamp on it. Doesn't have to be a continuation, but you can use that as a foundation for what you want to do yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and they could tiptoe around things. They can write things from a different perspective without retconning what happened. And it's as long as there's no Wesley still alive working for Kingpin, I think
Right.
it's pretty okay.
Yeah.
So, which God, he still needs that Wesley though. Somebody to fucking be his little bitch.
Huh. I actually like that in the show.
Yeah, I do too. Like even in 2005, he was kind of okay,
Yeah.
but the gentleman that played him on Netflix was just the bee's knees for that character.
Oh, he was perfect.
So, and then Karen killing him was just even better. It's like, yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that moment. I'm like, oh, she went there.
uh, and then, yeah, so it's like we had what 10, 13 good minutes of fun with Daredevil,
Yes.
which you can't help but to ask yourself, was this whole series just to like shoe in Daredevil?
Kind of makes you
Like
wonder about it, doesn't it?
if they don't have a meaningful conclusion to this show, which is going to be really hard to do in another 20-minute episode, uh, then it's just a plot device for Daredevil,
Yeah.
and another way to have a Hulk in future movies. But they haven't done anything to like. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not happy yet. Enjoying, but not happy. I feel like such a conflicted ass.
Yeah. Well, you can still get entertained by what you're watching, but on the overall level of where your expectations and what we've been getting, you kind of see that this really isn't going the way it should have gone. Like I think the production staff or the showrunners made some decisions with Kevin Feige, who is largely hands off on some of these projects, and they're not working out for the best because not all of these shows are clicking. And while I'm still having fun with this show, I'm still sitting there going, this really isn't what I wanted. And I didn't know what I wanted because I don't know She-Hulk. So I walked in on this no expectations. The show has set forth expectations and it's failed to live up to its own expectations that it's setting within its own world and narrative structure. So I'm having a hard time like really feeling connected to this show. And this is the first episode since episode probably one where I'm like, I feel like this is a good show. The other episodes I have laughed, I have had a good time with, but they all feel very disjointed and there's no flow. The pacing's off. There's numerous issues, but I'm still having fun with it. Like I I could go through any number of shows in my collection and point out shows just like this that, for like a season or two, they couldn't find their identity and they struggled like this, but I still like them and I'll still watch them. So,
Yeah, it, if there was a physical media, I would buy it.
yeah.
I can't say that I would do that for the other series. They're not all the other series, like you said,
Right.
Hawkeye, for example. My wife would probably want that one because she's a huge Hawkeye fan, Renner
Okay.
specifically. But I'm more like you. So if you say you didn't really care for it, I'm pretty sure I probably won't like it that much either.
Yeah.
Or won't be like, ooh, let's finish it as quickly as we do other shows.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
um I don't know. I've a lot of this show, like you said, you wanted it to be like Harvey Birdman in the MCU.
That
And
would have been
or
good.
yeah, and that's in a way kind of what some of this show is. Some of the better parts of this show is just like that. The courtroom scenes.
Yeah.
Uh the ridiculousness of Donnie Blaze was fantastic. For as stupid as you thought it was at the time, you're sitting there laughing at how ridiculous it is
Yeah.
at the same time too. So like they do have fun little moments like that, but none of the court scenes necessarily have any plot device. Like it's
Yeah.
they're the filler. And and
And
that
it should
becomes
be
a
this other stuff as the filler instead of the court stuff.
yeah, at that point it becomes freak of the week. And we're at an eight episode series. We can't do that.
All right.
So it, the D-listers have been fantastic. Those have been the best cameos, I think, because they're able to do so much more with them from
Right.
a comedic standpoint in a way. Um, Wong has to be a certain character. Like you could do different comedic things with Wong,
Oh
but he
yeah.
still has to be Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
Uh, LeapFrog
Oh my God.
was not a bad guy in the comic books, but you could make him a bad guy in the MCU because that character just would do that. Uh, Luke Jacobson was not black, was not gay in the comic books. He was blonde haired, blue eyed, and totally in love with one particular heroine. Luke Jacobson works so much better as this character, like in general, whether it
Okay.
be comics or the MCU. So it's like some of what they're doing is improving upon it.
Okay.
Some of it's okay, and a lot of it is improving upon. So like their D-list characters that they're bringing up, they're really improving upon. Pug, Luke, Mr. Immortal,
Yeah.
like all these people that like you barely ever heard about since the 70s or 80s. They're making them better in this show, and that's what the show does really well. Um, Keeping secrets and not being predictable, the show does not excel at that. It is
Yeah.
very
No.
formulaic. So I just want to see, okay, here's the bad guy, here's a little bit of exposition, here's the monster you have to fight, and done.
And go. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be the next 25 minutes of next week.
Or however long it is. I wonder if it might be a little bit of a longer episode at like maybe
I
35 minutes without credits, but
They could make it in an hour and they'd probably be wiser for it.
yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Because I mean, bad guys love to talk. They love to fucking spill their beans. Like
Yeah, they do. They love their monologues.
Yes, like that's just plain old simple bad guy rhetoric.
Gotta have it.
Oh,
Welcome to comic books.
yeah. Oh, and another thing I was going to say about making that sex tape and that being something that a woman would do to another woman. We all know Chris Jenner did that to her daughter.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kim's video was leaked by mom. Nasty. And so that was the relevance of this and that
Yeah.
finale. That's one of the notes I had written down, like, ew, Chris Jenner nasty. She's the devil. And so that's maybe what Book is, just this horrible, nasty, cantankerous person. But there's got to be more to the villain than
Yeah.
just that. So I don't know. That's what I'd like to find out. And I'd really like to see if they could make it gel and not feel rushed next week. Because again, my only complaint about Loki is there was no climax at the end. It just ended, and it sucked. Like it wasn't good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either.
It just ended.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, they're gonna come out with the second season. So okay, that story's not over, but it certainly looked that way at the time, well, you knew it was at the time because there was no more episodes.
Right.
And up until Loki, I don't think anything had gotten renewed for a second season yet.
Yeah, no.
As far as like WandaVision was a no, Falcon Winter Soldier was a no. But there were reasons for that.
Right.
Loki, I don't know if it was because they wanted to keep driving that on Disney Plus, if it was because it was so popular, or if it was always the plan to have Loki in the background changing things or altering things.
Okay.
I don't know, but they rushed it. They
Hmm.
rushed it. But there wasn't filler to Loki like there was this.
Right.
Like Loki was a good story from start to finish. They just rushed that finish.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Uh,
Hopefully this doesn't happen next week, although I'm like 99% sure that's what's going to happen. And I'm sorry for everyone watching because I sound like a fuddy-duddy on this episode. It just they did it wrong. They did it wrong. And I hope I eat my words next week.
yeah, it's largely just how they formatted the season more than anything, and how they've written some of this stuff. It's not so much, oh, Daredevil, boy, they screwed him up. No, they didn't screw up Daredevil. I
Oh
mean,
no. And from what I understand, people are complaining about that. Like, really? Oh, and another thing that people are complaining about is apparently the previously on to this episode was everything that incel people have been complaining about.
uh, yeah,
And it's like, yes, the twerking part was there, but really everything else was on there. Like that 30-40 seconds of whatever that is, or 2 minutes,
yeah,
that was everything summation of actual plot devices that mattered to the show. So it's like,
right,
let that speak for something. They managed to fill in every single like necessary plot point
yeah.
in that 2 minutes. Come on, there's a lot of filler to this.
Yeah, when I was making that joke about the fan edit, they did their own fan edit just to get you into the final episode or two.
I think next week, um, we usually watch these twice.
Yeah.
I think next Thursday I'll do that, of course, but I am going to try to sit and binge the whole 9 episodes next week.
Oh,
But
okay.
before we talk about it, just to see how it is as a whole, rather than
That's a
watching
good
it
way to do that. Yeah.
episodically, because Netflix proved that their good idea for binging was not necessarily a good idea, but at the
Right.
same time, stretching things out episodically may not be the best of ideas either. That's why a lot of the better shows that Disney does, they put the first 3 episodes out there first.
Right.
So that way by the time you catch up, or if you catch up, either one, you've felt that binge so far, or
Right.
two, you never catch up until it's actually done. Um, I I don't know.
Yeah.
We're complaining about the pacing again this episode, like we were last episode. So I mean, that's a running trend. That's a running trend. Marvel,
Yep.
don't do that.
Well, they only got one more episode to try and wrap it all up, so I guess just have to wait till next week. But I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's like I don't hate the show. I like the show, but I don't love the show. It's like it's neither good, it's neither bad. It's right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. What I will say is it's fun.
Yeah.
Like it's not it is, but it's not the most actiony of all shows.
All right.
Like there's a I can't say story. There is story. Like you have your Harvey Birdman scenes.
Yeah.
Those are fun. The story and plot itself, oh gosh, the longer we go on, the more I'm kind of like, I like the filler better. I liked Wong's adventures and her having to help him and vice versa. And then the relationship with Matt, that the little team up things have been fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Finding a fucking sex tape of her, like watching her dad watch the sex tape, wasn't necessarily fun for me. Like you went from this
Yeah.
kind of show to that kind of show real fast.
All right. There's a bit of an identity crisis going on here.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, how old do you want your audience to be for this Avenger?
Right.
Like we're talking sex tapes here. Like you can't help it when that happens with the real celebrity.
Yeah.
But you can not write about that for something that teenagers are going to watch, which whatever, even preteens. I
But
mean,
don't you know all the influencers these days need to have a leaked sex tape or they're just not popular enough?
it's true. It's true. If someone hasn't leaked you having sex, you don't matter.
And it's even worse if you leak during sex.
That's true.
Bazinga!
At least you said what I was thinking.
we are not a PG rated show here. If you were tuning in for that, you tuned into the wrong after show.
That's true, which is also why I'm like kind of like very confused why I'm upset that cousin Larry got to watch his daughter fucking bone some dude. Like I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to like it, I mean,
No.
so that's you're supposed to have that anger moment. But okay, earning my ram chip about that, where she brings that down and the lights go off, the alarm comes on. The symbolism there is fantastic because she's literally seeing red. Everything is in red. So like you're seeing what she's seeing at the same time.
I was getting Carrie vibes, is what I was getting, but without the
Yes.
blood pouring down over her.
Oh yeah, like when she turned around from the TV, that was most certainly Carrie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she was like you were seeing red, like that rage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you were seeing fear.
Um,
So that was kind of conflicting. Um, I like what they tried to do, what they were doing, but they also mixed in people running and screaming and everything else. Like
okay.
just
Yeah.
destroy shit when you're supposed to be seeing red. And then see the terror outside in
Yeah,
regular
right.
color as we did. So, and then my final gripe for the episode is goons and henchmen, which by the end of the show, I think we're seeing henchmen.
There
Uh,
is a difference.
yes, henchmen believe in the cause. Goons are in it for the paycheck.
I'm in it for the paycheck.
I am in it for the paycheck myself. Um, they shouldn't wear berets. Just don't, dude. Like
No.
it's not the '60s. There are a few hipsters in this show, yes, but we don't need to see that. Yes, there was clicking and shit when Mallory fucking said something, completely feminist. Uh, we don't need the hipster shit. It wasn't cool back in the '60s. It's not cool now.
Yeah.
No. Um, I guess maybe that's my last complaint. I,
Yeah, my complaints are pretty typical for this show, but they're like we've discussed. There's good and then there's bad with each episode. You take them as you can, and hopefully it doesn't deter you from wanting to finish the show. It is only 9 episodes long. I know some people have tapped out early from this show because of this, that, or the other, whatever your reason is. It's totally cool. We totally get it. If you love this show more than we do, hey, that's cool too. We're just a couple of guys. I'm a casual fan. Kevin's more in tune with the comics and the history. So between the two of us, we're just trying to provide a different perspective. And we don't hate the show like other people do. We're like the show. We're right in the middle on the show.
yeah. Um, I mean, there are the complaints that Marvel's going woke, and we've talked about that before, what that actually means. Have they forced that? I don't want to say propaganda because it's certainly not that. Have they forced representation and inclusion before? Yes. During Endgame, that was the worst fucking cinematic scene that I've ever seen. Not because it's all women, but because they made it so blatant. Like they had to point it out. Don't. They're awesome on their own. Put them all in this scene and just have it be. You don't need to have some stupid catchphrase to make it epic and then have like a crescendo of music. That's when you force things. Things can happen naturally and look wonderful. Like good example when Okoye was getting her ass beat in Infinity War, and I can't remember Thanos's goon's name. The chick says, "What are you going to do? You're all alone." And Natty says she's not alone, and fucking whaps her right upside the fucking head.
Yeah,
That was that was a beautiful fucking moment. I love that
that
scene.
was great. Yeah.
Like, and they tried to do that in Infinity War or an Endgame, and it came off really stupid. Uh, they're trying to have more ethnicities involved. That is good. If people can't handle that, I'm sorry, just don't watch that shit.
Yeah, we don't know what to tell you then.
Yeah, if you can't be tolerant of other people's cultures and stuff, don't watch it, but then don't go ahead and trash it at the same time. No one's trashing you.
Yeah.
Well, we are, but still. Um, this in itself, it comes off as woke. It comes off as snooty and forceful. And in a lot of ways, it is.
Yeah.
But the things that they've done have been necessary to the story. Now, will that all pay off next week? That's going to be the big question. That will decide, is this being forced, or is this just, was it smart writing? I've seen smart writing, and I could see where they're going to have a chance to drop the ball next week.
Yeah.
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't either.
So, but I don't know. We'll see. As long as there's a big fight with a big monster or two, it'll be fun.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. You looking forward to? And
Yeah, I love monster fights.
I yeah. I guess well, I guess we'll find out next week what we got coming.
Well, next week, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have our predictability scale for the first time and show like how many things we've called for this
Oh,
show.
cool. Love that idea.
And then we'll just say, Marvel, we're calling your shit out. You need to come up with something different now.
Because
It's
if we're predicting this, like
yeah, if two monkeys on a Davenport could fucking do this shit,
we
you're over.
certainly can.
Yeah, you're overpaying people. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see the end, and I'm excited to hopefully be proven wrong
Yep.
because it's a show worth watching.
Yep. And I never mind being proven wrong. If I'm wrong on something, it's like, okay, no problem. Lesson learned. But
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, if we're right, we're right. If we're wrong, that's cool too. But we're along the board for She-Hulk, and hopefully whatever we do for our next after show will be just as much fun, if not more.
yeah, but it won't have Madison.
with two N's and a Y, but not where you think it is.
Oh God. And you know what I'd like to do next week is I would like to have a list of all the wonderful insults that Luke has been able to get out at fucking Jen. Like,
Ooh.
try not to bloat between now and then was fucking amazing. It's the hag convention in town.
He had some good ones. And she just kind of stood there and just took it because she knew she needed his help.
He has been my favorite part of this show so far. I love Luke.
I could see that.
where she asks, "Could you be my tailor again?" Oh, Jen. No, because I hate you now.
And then at the end, he's all like, all right, I guess you think we're even now. You saved my life. Yes, I will make your dress. Don't get bloated in the meantime.
He's such a catty bitch. I love him.
He definitely brings a different aspect to the show. That's a regular character that's not a villain.
Oh God, yes. Like he's an anti-hero unto himself.
Indeed.
All right, man. That's all I got for this episode.
Yep, that's all I got too. So thank you for tuning in for After Show number 8. We'll see you next week for the season finale, and let's see how well we crash land this bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at sunsandshadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.